Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. In today's video, I'm going to be sharing with you guys how I made this beautiful vanity mirror with lights. Yes, I did it all by myself and I am so proud. I would like to give a shout out to Kimberly, whose video inspired me to make my own. Figured I could definitely do it and share with you guys the entire process. Plus, I saved a few $100s making it myself. Anyway, if you would like to know how I made this vanity mirror with lights, then please keep on watching. Okay, so I got a paint set. It comes with a roller and paint tray. You can buy them separate, but it was like better. It was a better deal to get them together like this. So also gonna need a power drill. I got this, and then can you guys see this? Like, hold on, let me adjust the focus. Here we go. The little screw bits for the power drill, and then I got the drill bit set that comes with it because it's not included in here. 2 packages of the E6000 super glue. They're each 2 ounces. So since, you know, the mirror is pretty big, I figured I would need more than one to make sure it's nice and sturdy. And then I got the extension cord. This one's 15 feet. I wanted to get 12 feet, but it was like either 8, 9, or 15. And I just wanted to be like super duper sure that it was long enough. So 15 feet should work just fine. I got wire connectors because we're definitely going to need these. Like, a lot of this stuff will make sense like once you actually see me building it. And then I got a 4-pack corner braces. So glad that these came with screws. And got nails. My vanity is going to have 18 lights, so each light bar will have 6 light bulbs. I wanted like a big mirror. So Home Depot was the only place I found. I mean, Lowe's probably had it too. I just didn't have time because they were closing to go check. But I got an 8-pack, and then 2 single ones, all same brand. So anyways, this is everything all together. Let me just focus. I hate having the autofocus on because that noise drives me nuts. So I'd rather just like focus it manually, but this is everything together. This is just like the materials that's needed. Obviously, I'll show you guys the wood and the mirror so you guys can see what it looks like. But yeah, quick disclaimer for the lights: you want to make sure that you're using LED lights. These draw in less power, especially since the power from the lights is going to be going through this extension cord, and you don't want to, like, you know, put too much power in here because it could short circuit and possibly cause a fire. So it's best to use LED lights, and 60 watts are that's pretty decent. And yeah, so the lights that I'm going to be using are in this box. There's 3 sets. I'm going to go ahead and open it. I tried before and it was just being a pain to open. So I'm going to go ahead and try again right now. So here's the wood that I purchased from Lowe's. You can also get your wood from Home Depot, but I know for a fact that if you get your wood from Lowe's, they'll cut it for free for you. Just give them your measurements. Speaking of measurements, mine will be listed down below in the description box. Just make sure you choose a wood that has a smooth surface, or at least close to smooth, something that's not too rugged so you don't get any splinters or, you know, hurt yourself. Anyway, I'm just going to go ahead and paint the wood as well as the side pieces. So let's get started. So here I have my wood laying on a tarp that I have from a previous paint job, and I also have leftover paint from the same paint job, just a pure white paint and primer mixed together. I got the paint from Home Depot and I got the tarp from the dollar store. So I'm just going to go ahead and pour the paint into the paint tray. So let's get started.
You
Now that I have finished painting the main board, I'm going to go ahead and paint the 4 side pieces. So I have finished painting all of the wood. It's not necessary to paint both sides, but I went ahead and did it anyway because I'm crazy. The only side that really needs to be painted is the side that the mirror is going to go on, because the back side is going to be facing the wall, so you won't even see it. But I felt better having both sides painted. With the back end of the board facing up, I'm going to go ahead and add my corner braces. I'm going to start with the lower left hand side. What I'm doing here is I'm going to grab my screw and I'm going to mark where I want to put my corner brace. So just in case my corner brace moves while I'm trying to screw it down, I'll know exactly where it is and I won't have to keep starting over. Your corner brace should be about an inch from the side. It should be the same way from both sides. I feel like you can pretty much eye an inch. If not, you just use some measuring tape if you want it to be absolutely perfect, but it really does not have to be. So now I'm just pretty much aligning the corner brace on the board so I can properly secure it with the screw. I'm really particular, so I wanted to make sure that it was in perfect placement so I can screw it down with no issues. Now I'm going to repeat the exact same step on the lower right hand side. I'm specifying location because I constantly move my camera around to give you guys a better angle. So again, this is the lower right hand side. I'm just going to do the exact same thing. Mark my spot with my screw, then measure and add the corner brace to where I like it to be on the board, and then so on and so forth. Repeating the same steps for the top right and left side of the wood, my 4 corner braces have been successfully added. So now I can go ahead and attach my side pieces. Next, I'm just going to stand up my board on the long side piece. So you want to make sure that the side pieces are matching the length of the board. So I'm worried about the long sides at this point. So I'm just gonna, line it up, make sure it looks good, nice and neat and close to perfect. Now that both pieces of wood are aligned, I can go ahead and put in my second screw. So I'm going to repeat the exact same thing for the right side of this wood, and then I'm going to do the same exact process for the parallel side of the wood. So the 2 longest sides should have both their long sides of wood attached to the corner braces. Now you're going to take your wood and flip it so that the longer side pieces that's already attached are facing outward, and the part where we're going to attach the short side pieces should be facing up, and then the other should be directly onto the floor. So on the part that's facing up, you're going to take your short side piece and nail it into the longer side piece, as you can see in this picture, and you'll also see in the next clip exactly what I mean. So there is a small gap. It's because my measurement was about ½ an inch off, but just pretend that my short side piece of wood was long enough. So this is what it should look like up close. So now that my 4 sides are completely attached, I'm just going to go ahead and finish painting the exposed wood from the side pieces. Once the wood is completely dry, you're going to want to lay it down with the part that the mirror is going to be on facing up, and you're going to want the part of the mirror where the top light bar is going to be facing you. So at this point, I just took out the light bars from the plastic bags that they were in, and I'm going to line them up on my wood to see what they will look like. Each light bar will have 3 holes, 2 holes for screws and 1 larger hole that the drill will go through. You want to make sure that larger hole that the drill goes through for the 2 side light bars to be facing inward towards the mirror. And then for the top light bar, you want to make sure that drill hole is facing towards the outside, aka towards you. If this is confusing, pay attention to the next few clips because I will mark it on the screen exactly what I'm referring to. At this point, I'm just going to put the protective cover back on, trying to make sure that everything looks exactly how I want it to be. So I'm trying to get everything as neat and symmetrical as possible. Quick note, I do have my top light bar all the way up to the top edge, and then for my side light bars, you'll notice there'll be a little bit of space on the sides. Now that I know how I want my light bar placement, I can go ahead and screw down the metal part of the light bar. Starting with the top light bar, I'm just marking my spot as I did before with the screw in case I accidentally move the light bar, so I'll know exactly where to screw my screw down without having to realign everything all over again. And then I'm just going to repeat the same thing for the opposite side of the light bar. Now I'm going to screw down the side light bars. This is what everything should look like once the light bar plates are screwed down. As I mentioned earlier, as you can see for the top light bar, that drill hole is facing outward away from the wood. So for the 2 side light bars, that same drill hole would be facing toward the wood. Now for the fun part, it's time to get drilling. Don't forget your safety goggles if you have them. If not, just try to avoid keeping your face too close so that you don't get the wood chips in your eyes. Now that I'm done drilling, I'm going to go ahead and unravel my extension cord. Now that it is unraveled, I'm going to go ahead and cut off the head of the extension cord. I am now going to split the extension cord in half by cutting down the middle about 1 inch. I started off with the scissors and then I kind of went back towards using my hands to try and split it. So you'll see me kind of going back and forth between using my hands to split and using the scissors to split. So now that I have successfully completed splitting the extension cord, I'm going to go ahead and cut off the top casings to expose the wires. I'm going to take my scissors and cut in a very gentle and slow motion, just like in a circular motion, until I can see the wires. So I was kind of going back and forth between cutting and pulling, cutting and pulling. So once I saw the copper wire, even just the smallest bit of wire, I immediately stopped cutting and just proceeded to pull it apart. So here's the exposed copper wire. So now I'm just going to repeat the exact same step on the other side. At this point, there should only be this part that's cut. So now I'm going to go ahead and measure the space between the drill holes on each light bar to know where I need to cut on the extension cord. There will be a total of 3 pieces of extension cord, 2 short pieces and 1 long piece that you will plug into the wall. When measured, both of my short extension cord pieces are about 36 inches long. That's about the length of 1 light bar. Starting with the piece of extension cord I've already cut, I'm going to repeat that same splitting and cutting around the casing part on the opposite end of the extension cord. So this is what it should look like. And then I'm going to repeat the same process for the other short piece. For the long extension cord, I only needed to cut one side because the other side needs to be plugged into the wall. I'm going to go ahead and lift up my vanity wood so I can go ahead and put the extension cords through the drill holes from the back. Speaking on direction of the back side of the wood, I'm going to take the short piece of extension cord and stick my first side of exposed copper wire through the right light bar drill hole. And then I'm going to take the opposite end of the copper wire and stick that through the top light bar drill hole. I then repeat the same step on the opposite side, stick my second short piece into the left drill hole and connect that to the top drill hole. So as you can see, this is what it should look like in the front. Side, other side. Moving on to the long piece of extension cord, aka the cord that gets plugged into the wall, I'm going to go ahead and feed that through the drill hole that is going to be, I want it on the side that's closest to my power outlet. In this case, it's the left side, so I'm just going to go ahead and feed that through the left side drill hole. So the top hole will have 2 pieces of extension cord feeding through it, and then the left side will have 2 pieces of extension cord feeding through it, while the right side, as you can see, only has 1 piece of extension cord feeding through it. Now that this is complete, time to move on to wiring. In the next few clips, you'll hear me mention smooth edge and rigid edge. Each side of your extension cord that you split down the middle will have a smooth side and a rigid side. This is what I'm referring to. When I first watched the tutorial on this, I was confused on that part, but I finally figured it out. So I just wanted to go ahead and let you guys know in case anyone else was confused like I was. The protective wire casing on the wires inside the light bars were pre-cut by the manufacturer, so all I had to do was just pull them right off. Now that we're getting into wiring, please make sure nothing is plugged in. So here I'm going to take the 2 white wires that I already installed in the light bar, and I'm going to connect them to the copper wires coming out of the rigid end of the extension cord. As you can see, I'm just taking the wires from the light bar plus the rigid end wires, and I'm just going to twist the wires together. I'm now going to take the pre-installed black wires and connect them to the copper wires coming out of the smooth end of the extension cord. Now that I'm done twisting the wires together, it's time to add the wire connectors. So I'm just going to place a wire connector over each exposed wire, and I'm just going to twist until it feels secure and until I no longer see any of the copper wire at the bottom. I can now repeat the exact same steps for the other 2 light bars. Now that all the wires are connected, it's time to test this bad boy out. Before I attempt to plug in anything, I'm going to go ahead and put the white plates back onto each light bar. Before I can test it out by putting in the light bulbs, I need to put the light bulb socket covers on. To be sure that each light bar is working, I'm going to twist a light bulb onto each bar. Now that the light bulbs are in, it's time to test it out. Now that I see everything was wired correctly, I can unplug it and add the rest of my light bulbs. Now it's time to add my mirror. I'm using a 30 by 36 inch frameless beveled edge mirror, which I purchased from Home Depot, but you can also get a similar mirror from Lowe's. You don't have to use a beveled edge mirror, you can just use the straight cut mirror, but I feel like it looks better with the beveled edge. If you're not sure whether or not the mirror you're getting is beveled edge, it should specify on the packaging. Next, I'm going to go ahead and open up both my packages of E6000 glue and just squirt the glue all over the wood in the middle where the mirror will be. Once that's done, it's time to add the mirror. I'm taking my time to make sure that I place it correctly and that there's no weird spaces in between. I'm now going to put the mirror packaging on top to protect it, as I'm going to be putting heavy objects on top to weigh the mirror down to make sure that it sticks and that it does not come up. To be on the safe side, I let it dry overnight before I even thought about putting it up. I successfully completed my vanity mirror. Here's the final look. Thank you guys so much for watching my video. I really hope that you enjoyed it. If you liked it, then please give it a thumbs up and please don't forget to subscribe. I love you guys so much. Until next time, bye guys.